Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a path to building some serious wealth, a path that, honestly, many of the world's sharpest business minds just completely overlook. It's a proven model for building an empire that, for some reason, has this kind of stigma around it. So today, we're going to break down why that stigma might just be the biggest opportunity you're not even looking at.
It's a big question, right? And it really pushes back against the traditional playbook they teach you in those elite business schools. You know the drill. The expected paths are private equity, consulting, or maybe jumping into a high-growth startup. But what if there's another way? One that's hiding in plain sight. Now, to get to the bottom of this, we're not just going to throw opinions around. We're going to dig into a really deep analysis from A.J. Wasserstein. He's a senior lecturer at the Yale School of Management, so he knows his stuff. He studied this exact question, and frankly, what he found is pretty hard to ignore. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it. See, we're not talking about buying a single sandwich shop and working the counter yourself. No. He's arguing that for the right person, for an MBA with the right skill set, multi-unit franchising is a blueprint for building a massive, professional, and incredibly valuable company. So, why the disconnect? I mean, if the opportunity is so huge, why do so many smart, ambitious people just dismiss it out of hand? Well, it usually comes down to a few core myths and biases. So let's just roll up our sleeves and tackle them one by one. All right, this is the first big hang-up, especially for anyone who's financially savvy. You look at that royalty payment, that percentage of your revenue you have to pay every single month, and it feels like you're just lighting money on fire, money that should be yours. But what Wasserstein says is that that view is just way too short-sighted. A really good franchisor provides so much value that it blows that royalty fee out of the water. It's not just a fee, it's your payment for a proven de-risked system. You get the brand, the playbook, the tech, the support. You're basically buying speed and dramatically reducing your risk of failure. Okay, this is a classic business school problem, right? The franchisor makes their money from royalties, which is a slice of your top-line sales. But you, the franchisee, you only care about one thing: bottom line profit at your locations. And look, this conflict is absolutely real. A franchisor could be tempted to open a new store right next to yours to juice the system's total revenue, even if it cannibalizes your sales. But here's how a smart franchisee gets around that. You scrutinize the territory protections in the agreement, and more importantly, you pick up the phone and talk to other owners. Find out how the franchisor actually behaves in the real world. This one hits right at the core of why people become entrepreneurs in the first place. The idea of someone else telling you how to operate, what products to sell, even what color to paint the walls, it can feel really restrictive. It goes against that whole be your own boss dream. But here's the counterintuitive part. For a first-time CEO, those constraints can be a huge advantage. Think about it. Instead of burning time and energy trying to reinvent the wheel, figuring out marketing, supply chains, all of it, you get to pour all your strategic brainpower into what really moves the needle: world-class execution, hiring great people, and scaling up. All right, so we've busted the myths. Now let's flip it around and build the positive case. Let's look at the powerful, data-driven reasons why this is such a compelling path, especially for the kind of person who loves the numbers. Now, Wasserstein lays out a whole dozen arguments, but for me, two really jump off the page. First, the fragmented acquisition opportunities. That means it's a roll-up play from day one. And second, the shallow competitive talent pools. You're just not competing for talent against the same sharks you'd find at a hedge fund or in Silicon Valley. Now let's talk risk. This number is huge. For a lot of established franchise systems, the annual store closure rate is less than 3%. Just stop and think about that. Compare that to the failure rate for a brand new, independent small business. It's not even in the same universe. The difference is just staggering. And this is really what it all boils down to. When you combine strong, predictable profits from each unit with an incredibly low risk of failure, the risk-adjusted return on your investment becomes unbelievably attractive. It's a machine designed to generate cash. That's why he calls it a capital allocator's fantasy. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but you're probably wondering, who's actually doing this? Fair question. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world with two very different examples. So first, let's look at the big money, the institutional level. You've got Balance Point Capital, a 1.7 times billion-dollar asset management firm. They are a major shareholder in one of the biggest Taco Bell franchisee groups in the country. This isn't some tiny side bet for them. This is a core part of their investment strategy. And their partner, Justin Kaplan, he nails why it's so powerful. He points out there are 3 ways to grow at the same time. You can build brand new stores with great economics, you can buy existing stores from other owners at a good price, and you can grow the sales at the stores you already have. It's a triple threat strategy for compounding your wealth. Okay, now let's bring it down to a more relatable level. This is the story of an MBA graduate who actually chose this path right out of school. Meet Adam Wilver, a graduate from MIT Sloan who used to work in private equity. And just like so many of his classmates, Adam's first instinct was to dismiss franchising completely. He was looking for a business that checked all those classic boxes, recurring revenue, high return on capital, B2B services. He just didn't think for a second he'd find that in a franchise world. And then he found Smash My Trash. It's a mobile dumpster compaction service, super niche, B2B, and it ticked every single one of his boxes. The franchise model gave him a proven business in a box, which was huge. It allowed him, as a first-time CEO, to skip the startup chaos and focus his energy on what he was good at: people, operations, and scaling his own multi-unit empire. So, okay, the myths are busted, the opportunity seems pretty clear. What's the next step? What do you do if you're sitting there thinking, maybe there's something to this, and you want to actually explore it for yourself? The big takeaway here is this. If you look at it through the right lens, franchising is not some lesser-than career path. It can be an incredibly sophisticated, scalable strategy for building serious wealth with really attractive risk-adjusted returns. It's practically tailor-made for people with a strong business background. And if you are ready to start looking, the process is actually pretty simple. Tracer Franchising, whose analysis we've been leaning on, provides free, data-driven, expert help. You can go to their site, and they even have an AI-powered quiz that helps match you with brands that actually fit your specific financial goals, your skills, and what you're interested in. And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. It wasn't that long ago that search funds or entrepreneurship through acquisition were kind of looked down upon. Now it's a super prestigious path at top MBA schools. Franchising is presenting that same kind of contrarian opportunity today. The inefficiency in the market is the social stigma. So the only real question is, who's going to be smart enough to see it and seize it?